Do we have in this organization? Hadn't thought about that. We might have a list somewhere of them. How many different buildings do we have? Or a different way to say this could be, how many unique entries are in column C or in column B? The solution to this is not exactly an easy one, and it's not exactly a shortcut, but it is a technique. In one of these years, I would expect that there would be a new function in Excel called unique. I'm going to put this particular formula above the data here. Wouldn't typically do this, but for purposes of demonstration, I think it's a good place. I'm right-clicking on row 1 here and inserting a new row above this. And I'm about to write what's called an array formula. It's one of these situations where I'll do this first, and then we can take a look at it and try and explain it a bit. It will involve a function called COUNTIF, which you might or may not be familiar with. I need to count all the cells in this column from here down to the bottom. Now I'm pressing Shift Control down arrow, goes down to row 743, comma. And rather than doing that all over again, because I do need to use it again, I'm going to copy this with Control C, put it right here, Control V, put in a right parenthesis, and another right parenthesis, and another one. And because this is what is called an array formula, special kind of formula that in effect allows us to process information across many cells at once, I'm going to press Control Shift Enter. And there's the answer. There are 23 unique entries there, starting in cell C3. Now you'll notice also that the formula, as you see it in the formula bar, has braces on it. You don't type those. It almost sounds as if I'm making up this description as I go, but I'm not. And so an array formula, and they're kind of hard to describe except by examples, allow us to ultimately process and use if kind of logic across many cells in a parallel fashion. If I were to say, how many buildings do we have? I could simply copy this leftward using the fill handle. And there are 6 different buildings in this particular example. And social security number, of course, it better be unique. If we were to copy this leftward here, we'd see that we've got 741 names. So we should have at least that many social security numbers, and that matches up phone numbers and so on. How many different kinds of status do we have here? I'm simply dragging this to the right. There are 4, and different hire dates and so on and so on. How many different benefits type packages do we have here? Well, that one doesn't work because we've got empty cells. So this formula, as we see it here, is of limited use. It takes about 10 minutes to explain ultimately how this does work, but believe me, it works and it's great. You can adapt it to your own needs. It is a way to count unique entries within a range. Again, I keep hoping for Microsoft to introduce a new function called unique. It would make this a lot simpler.